Welcome back, everybody, to the show this evening. As I mentioned on the morning broadcast, my brother's wedding was over the weekend, so you can just imagine little old me, all happy, just witness love. I have a new sister-in-law, and just a happy time. Da 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 da. As I come back into work today. That's all right. Well, maybe if my little world has had such a beautiful weekend, the rest of the world did. No, that's not what happened. Let's start with something pretty dark and scary. Putin, who Trump constantly touts his relationship with, said he could end Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 24 hours. All of those contextual items that you're very well aware of, and would always brag about how wonderful my relationship with Putin is. He's so brilliant, so strong, iron fist, blah, blah, blah. That relationship, even though Trump gives way too much slack to Putin and trusts him in this twisted way, even Trump is getting fed up with Putin. And that's leading to Putin making the threat that you're going to see here. Then we'll get to Trump's reaction to Russia striking Ukraine at unprecedented levels and so many different things. Let's start with this.
We need to get them in a chokehold. They're trying to strangle us, and we should reciprocate. We did not chase anyone out. We provided the best possible conditions to work in our market, and they're trying to choke us. And we should act in a mirror fashion. We need to get them.
So we need to put the West in the chokehold that they're putting us in, is his argument. Now, all of this is happening in front of the backdrop of reporting like CNN reporting Russia launched its largest aerial assault of its 3-year war on Ukraine overnight, targeting the capital and other regions with missiles and drones for a second night in a row. The largest aerial assault of the entire war. Now, you might remember that we talked about this phone call that happened between Trump and Putin. And I said, as always, normal caveats, if something were to be achieved, that would be great. And if peace could happen, that would be wonderful. But I almost don't have to say that anymore because it's so obvious that's not what's happening. It's so obvious that Putin is playing Trump, and maybe despite never being willing to admit this, Trump is acknowledging it. He said this.
Iran talks. I can't tell you what's going to happen tomorrow. I can tell you the Iran talks have been going very well.
And you said you're unhappy.
And I'd love that to happen because I'd love to see no bombs dropped and a lot of people dead. I really would like to see that happen. And I think there's a good chance that it could happen.
You mentioned you're unhappy with President Putin. You've talked before about putting more sanctions on Russia. Is that something you're considering more serious?
Absolutely. He's killing a lot of people. I don't know what's wrong with him. What the hell happened to him, right? He's killing a lot of people. I'm not happy about that. Go ahead, what else?
So again, the relationship is spiraling, but I need to just say, while I guess it's good to see Trump is contending with reality a little bit more now, he's still as detached from reality as ever, because even the way he worded that, what happened to Putin? What happened to him? He used to be so reasonable, but now he's not. No, this is what we've been telling you. That's been the whole problem, is that he doesn't want peace, but you were saying that he does. Was that because we didn't want peace and you did? No, that was because we were assessing that the reason we didn't have peace for all this time was because Putin's ambition to continue his invasion. And now him talking about putting the West in a stranglehold. Before getting back more into that, let's just complete the Putin clips, him saying this.
It wasn't us who organized the coup in Ukraine.
Why are authoritarians so victim obsessed? There's such victims all the time. We didn't. You're going to hear him say, that's why we had to do what we did in this clip. Which does remind me of Trump whenever he blames his own victimhood on every bad thing he ever does.
Recently heard that democracy and the rule of law and elections are paramount, but they staged a coup, a bloody coup at that, and they went full on, tried to conquer the Donbass and killing people with helicopters.
The camera is cutting to different individuals and they all look very fun. You know, like I'd love to be in a room with loud music and fun lights with these gentlemen. They look very fun and energetic, and they seem like they would have interesting personalities, etc. The next guy you're going to see really brings this home.
They forced us to do what we're now doing. And they're trying to make it look as if it's our fault.
Yeah. He looks fun. They all have interesting hair choices, but fun. That's what when I see. Okay, you get the point. Yeah, Putin is blaming, as he always does, everyone but himself for starting a war that now he's absolutely failing at, really the whole time. But Trump posted this. I've always had a very good relationship. By the way, as we go through this, please do click the subscribe button if you appreciate the show. And then if you want to become a member, click the join button. And then beyond that, we're doing a live show in Austin, Texas, July 5th. So lukebeasleyshow.com/live or the link in the description of this video. You can get your tickets. It's going to be a blast and I'll meet all of you. I've always had, Trump says, a very good relationship with Vladimir Putin of Russia, but something has happened to him. He's gone absolutely crazy. He is needlessly killing a lot of people, and I'm not just talking about soldiers. Missiles and drones are being shot into cities in Ukraine for no reason whatsoever. I've always said that he wants all of Ukraine, not just a piece of it, and maybe that's proving to be right, but if he does, it will lead to the downfall of Russia. Likewise, President Zelenskyy is doing his country no favors by talking the way he does. Everything out of his mouth causes problems. I don't like it, and it better stop. This is a war that would have never started if I were president. You're president now. This is Zelenskyy's, Putin's, and Biden's war, not Trump's. I'm only helping to put out the big and ugly fires that have been started through gross incompetence and hatred. Russia did respond to this message directly, calling him emotional. We'll get to that, but he's a sick person. I think we just need to say that. The fact that this, you can tell, he's realizing that this is a Putin problem, obviously. Hey, we all realized that whenever he invaded originally. But Trump maybe finally has come to that conclusion, but he still is too much of a coward or doesn't want to admit he's wrong. And so he still has to say it's a Zelensky, Putin, and Biden problem. That's the list. He puts Zelenskyy's name first, the defender of the country that's being invaded, and then Putin, and then includes Biden for some reason. Whoa. Leave your name on my mother-loving mouth, brother. Biden said, I think. And he can't just admit there's nothing. It's not Zelenskyy's words that are causing problems. It's not Biden that's causing problems. It's Putin choosing to continue invading that's causing problems and bloodshed. But at least he's acknowledging Putin is escalating the violence, I guess. Then he said,
on Russia and Ukraine as well?
Yeah, I'll give you an update. I'm not happy with what Putin's doing. He's killing a lot of people, and I don't...
He's been killing a lot of people. Did you miss that part? Something happened. Something happened to Putin. So confusing, so strange. No, he's been doing it the whole time. That's kind of the story of the whole last 3 years. So when you were out going, oh no, this is a conflict that just was provoked by the West, and actually Zelenskyy did something wrong, and so if I were president, I would have to call and say, God saddle, and then I'll call them and say, God saddle, and then it would solve the whole thing, because really all it took was someone to say they wanted peace, and it was really Biden, and it was Boris Johnson or whatever, who were convincing Zelenskyy not to accept peace when Putin was obviously saying all of that was wrong, Trump. And that's what we were telling you. How does he not have even a little eensy-weensy Trump hand-sized humility to say, I was wrong. I thought this was a problem with the West, with Zelenskyy, with geopolitical tension, but now I'm realizing there is an authoritarian force that wants to take over another country, and he's set on that, and he keeps playing me, and we're doing phone calls, and what do I mean by that? He's delaying Trump doing any actual sanctions or extra pressure on Putin to try to force him into peace by constantly giving just enough of a nugget of hope that he actually wants peace when that's obviously not true. All right, sorry. Starting this one from the beginning.
Provide us an update on Russia and Ukraine as well.
Yeah, I'll give you an update. I'm not happy with what Putin's doing. He's killing a lot of people, and I don't know what the hell happened to Putin. I've known him a long time, always gotten along with him. but he's sending rockets into cities and killing people, and I don't like it at all, okay? We're in the middle of talking, and he's shooting rockets into Kiev and other cities. I don't like it at all.
President, what do you want to do about
And
that?
I'm surprised. I'm very surprised. We'll see what we're going to do. What am I going to tell you? You're the fake news, aren't you? You're totally fake. All right, any other questions? I don't like what Putin is doing, not even a little bit. He's killing people. And something happened to this guy, and I don't like it. That's all I have to say.
Can I follow up on that?
Imagine putting yourself, in cartoons, whenever there's like a tiger or a lion that wants a piece of meat, the piece of meat's like a perfect, beautiful looking steak. Imagine getting a bunch of those perfect, beautiful looking red steaks, nice and rare, and wrapping them all around your body, and then charging at 6 lions, and then it bites you and you go, that was surprising. Like, oh, what? Why'd they bite me? I always had a good relationship with the lions. I always admired the lions. I loved how the lions also didn't really love democracy. I loved the train stations that the lions would, right? That wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't be logical. That's what Trump's doing here. I'm so shocked that Putin keeps striking Ukraine as he's been doing this whole time. But the real question is, he keeps going, yeah, we'll do something. So do something. Big, strong guy. You're so strong. You love strong guys. Get turned on by authoritarians. Do something. Do something. Be a man. And actually do something, please. Put the pressure on him. Dmitry Peskov, a Putin spokesperson, said, "We are really grateful to the Americans and to President Trump personally for their assistance in organizing and launching this negotiation process. Of course, at the same time, this is a very crucial moment, which is associated, of course, with the emotional overload of everyone, absolutely, and with emotional reactions about Trump's Truth Social posts." He's calling you emotional, Donald. Oh, little Donald, he's so whiny and emotional. Does that not piss you off? Come on. Do something. Now, what I mean is like sanctions and economic pressure. I don't mean military strikes, but support Ukraine a bunch. As much aid as you can give them, give it. That's the only way we're going to force Putin into giving up on this endeavor and agreeing to lasting peace. And remember, I referenced this past call. This was Putin after he got off last week or something, a 2-hour call with Trump. Good evening. My colleagues asked to say a few words about the results of our telephone conversation with the President of the United States. Indeed, this conversation took place and lasted more than 2 hours. What did they talk about, by the way? I would like to note that it was very informative and very frank. And overall, in my opinion, very useful in this regard. And then Trump went on to say, it was so productive, he's serious about peace, and a week later, here we are. But can we really trust Trump to have, aside from the ideological strength, the intellectual strength to deal with world affairs like this when he gets impressed by turning on a computer?
But is Barron's aptitude, in your view, business or politics?
Maybe technology. He can look at a computer. I try turning off his car. I turn it off. I turn off his laptop. I said, oh, good. And I go back 5 minutes later, he's got his laptop. I said, how'd you do that? None of your business, Dad. No, he's got an unbelievable aptitude in technology.
Yes. If you have a kid, if any of you are parents out there, and you notice that when you turn off their laptop, they're able to turn it back on, they might be a future software engineer. They really might. It's something you think about. How should we trust Trump with matters of geopolitics when this trips him up?
As a linguist, translator, and cryptologic technician.
Yeah. I have a good buddy. I have a really good buddy. And I love that he is passionate about being a cryptologic technician. Like we were growing up and we were kids and he said, I want to be a technician, but specifically a cryptologic technician. And I was like, that's real. I had never heard of that. But that I love that you know your passion. Get it. Go be a cryptologic technician. Do it. Get it. Yes. Now, Zelenskyy did call out Trump and America's silence, or the silence of America after the deadly round of Russian attacks. As we reference, the post was here. Each such terrorist Russian strike is a sufficient reason for new sanctions against Russia. Russia's dragging out this war, continues to kill every day. The world may go on a weekend break, but the war continues regardless of what weekends and weekdays. This cannot be ignored. Silence of America, silence of others around the world only encourage Putin. And it's not just silence of words, because Trump's always yapping about stuff and he's yapping about this, but it's sort of the silence or the lack of action, right? At some point, Trump keeps saying there are pressure points he can press on Putin. And if you really know him so well, wouldn't you know what would get him to actually want peace? No. What does Trump, by the way, as a total side note, what does Trump even mean when he says, I know someone really well? Like, you met him a couple times. That's it. You met him a couple times on state visits. That's it. And you've had phone calls with him like you've had with other leaders. That's it. But then he talks about them like they're his best friends. Because probably they just said nice things to him and he's so simple-minded. A quick lighthearted break from this. All of it is almost as absurd. Trump's handling of this is almost as absurd as a news anchor deciding she was going to continue news anchoring while in labor.
Wednesday morning, I'm Olivia Jaquith. And I'm Julia Dunn. We do have some breaking news this morning. Literally. Yes. Olivia's water has broke. That's right. And she is anchoring the news now in active labor. Early labor. We've been doing the contractions. She's now, timing her contractions. We'll see. I'm going to pay attention. 2 minutes apart? No.
2 minutes already? Go to the hospital.
There was one, but it's been a few minutes since then, so we're still in good shape. Her decision to stay on the desk, by the way. Look at what it says. Days past due date. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I know. So we're thinking maybe today. I'm happy to be here, and I'll stay on the desk for as long as I possibly can. But if I disappear... We're so happy for you. She's 2 days overdue, so she wants this baby out. But Wednesday morning.
There is some particular... Welcome, everybody, this morning to WRGB News. This is Channel 6. My name is Sarah. There is a traffic pile up on the 405. And we're never going to go to the weather. President Trump over the weekend spoke out against President Putin. Hey, if you want a break, take a break from work. I think there's a few things. I love the grind. I love that she's a hard worker and wants to say, I think once the water breaks, maybe we go off the air. I think maybe that will be, I think her employer better support her going off the air. She's like, I don't have any more sick days. That's brutal. That's brutal, but admirable, nevertheless. Now, I do want to dive into now. Trump made the promise with Russia as it pertains to Ukraine, saying that he was going to stop the war in 24 hours. That failed. Another promise that he made on the campaign trail a lot and is now blatantly, not just failing, but contradicting, is that he would be there every step of the way to natural disaster victims. So let's play this video.
I just want to thank all of the incredible men and women who have done such a great job in helping with Florence. This is a tough hurricane, one of the wettest we've ever seen from the standpoint of water.
Oh, sorry. I think Jaden played the wrong clip. That's not the hurricane clip I was thinking of. No, this is the correct clip. You remember when he said stuff like this?
I'm here today in Western North Carolina to express a simple message to the incredible people of the state. I'm with you, and the American people are with you all the way. We're going to continue to be with you. We'll see what happens with the election.
We're going to be with you all the way. And we've gotten into more details about this before, specific examples of states and even Republicans requesting and Trump denying, and specifically as it pertains to that hurricane and him just not being there every step of the way, giving up on people as they recover. Scientific American reporting disaster-struck states waiting for weeks for Trump's sign-off on FEMA aid and he's just not doing it in so many of these cases. Public officials have started pleading with the Trump administration for help in recovering from deadly disasters as President Donald Trump triggers frustration in states struck by tornadoes, floods, and storms by taking no action on requests for aid. We saw Josh Hawley at a hearing saying to Kristi Noem, please, 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 we need support. Can you do anything to get Trump to sign off on this? On a different note, Trump selected as his nominee for Surgeon General someone who's raising eyebrows, and we discussed that a little bit, but now you have Trump's ex-Surgeon General saying, from the standpoint of qualified, I don't know about Casey Means. This is USA Today. Dr. Jerome Adams, the former U.S. Surgeon General during President Donald Trump's first term, called into question the qualifications of Trump's new nominee for the post, Casey Means, as he argued the Surgeon General must hold a medical license to carry out the job's duties. She had one at one point. Whatever. Jerome, whatever. Who cares? Means is not a practicing physician and does not have an active medical license. Yeah, but Bobby, though. Like, Bobby recommended her. That was Trump's thing. Bobby said it. Hey, how did you pick her? I don't know who she is, but Bobby told me. All right. Just one of the most important positions in the country, but okay. I mean, let's check in. One of my favorite things about when as serious as all this is, there is a funny component where when new people, especially now that so many of them are these wild characters, are brought into the national spotlight because Trump nominates them for something, then accounts like Patriot Takes goes and finds just fun, spunky moments of them. And let's check in on some of what they found with Casey Means.
And I really think we need to reorient to realize that our sexual function and even something like our libido and our interest in sex is actually a barometer for our underlying fundamental health. I mean, that is such a key thing that we need to focus on. If you're having issues in those domain, which as we just talked about with those statistics, many or most Americans are, it may be a big red warning sign that there are things happening under the hood in terms of our metabolic health and metabolic dysfunction that will lead to very serious issues down the road.
I actually suggest that, here's the thing. Sex is so connected to health. It's actually true, by the way, but it's still funny. And so I think the best thing this is actually a passion of mine. I think the best thing that we could do is figure out a way to get vegetables to arouse people. Because think about if every time someone saw a carrot, they were aroused. Then they would eat more carrots. And then they'd be healthier. Have you ever eaten the shaft of a broccoli, for example? Well, that maybe is something that we encourage for people. If we can make synonymous sex with health, with vegetables or lean meats, then we win, really. What are those beans called? What's your favorite type of bean? I feel like aren't beans healthy?
Mine is refried. I don't think it's healthy.
Well, let's, what about those, there's that book about the green beans. If instead of a beautiful woman with curvatures and all that, if we taught them to see a green bean and be like, damn, that's a good green bean. Like, why am I aroused? Like that's a good green. Like, I never hear people say like, like we should associate green beans with biting lips, right? Like this. Ready? That's a good green bean. What were we talking about? No, the funny thing is she's actually I don't think she's qualified for this, but it is true that sexual problems could be indicative of underlying problems. I don't know if we fix that with my solution, but it's an idea. I just don't like criticizing people without an idea. So I'm giving an idea. Maybe we merge vegetables, lean meats, fruits, healthy fruits, organic, non-ultra processed foods with sexual things. It's just an idea. I'm just bringing ideas to the table. I think that's where I'll leave it. Share your thoughts in the comments.